South Korea's Hanjin Heavy Industries is one of the Philippines' biggest foreign investors. Its shipyard in Subic Bay employs some 20,000 Filipinos. But now environmentalists, human rights groups and even the church are accusing the shipyard of exploiting its workers and displacing more than 1,000 families. I'm Fauzia Ibrahim. On this edition of 101 East, we ask if the Philippine government is pursuing foreign investment at the expense of its people.
The people of Subic Bay, Philippines are used to wet, gusty weather. Typhoons are a regular occurrence here. Two lashed the region when we visited. But for years, a different kind of storm has also been brewing in Subic Bay. At the center of the controversy, this shipyard, run by South Korean corporate giant Hanjin Heavy Industries. "22,000 Filipinos work here. A feather in the cap for a country hungry for foreign investment.
Hanjin is the single largest foreign investor in the Philippines. Their current investments run to $1.6 billion.
Not everyone is celebrating though. Nearby, more than 1,000 families live in squalor. Displaced after their homes were destroyed to make way for Hanjin.
Lugar na to sa amin na to.
5 beses na po kaming nadimulis.
But that's not all. Allegations of labor rights abuses and poor safety standards have dogged Hanjin since it started operations in 2006.
In our records, we have for like their 4 years operation, 32 deaths.
Kami ang mga manggagawa na nagtatrabaho sa Hanjin Shipyard na nakakaranas.
As anti-Hanjin sentiment mounts, there are growing calls for the government to act.
The government should be strong enough not to let our rights and what is proper be taken in by the Hanjin.
Dadalhin na po natin ang usaping ito hanggang sa International Labor Organization.
But with so much money and so many jobs at stake, can the Philippines afford to offend its biggest investor? A prayer before breakfast. It's become a daily ritual for this young man who asked that we identify him only as Robert. The 23-year-old works at Hanjin's shipyard in Subic Bay. It's a job he both needs and fears.
Ang pangkalahatan para sa akin yung napapansin ko po is yung kakulangan sa safety. Yung nahulugan po ng tornilyo yung kasama ko, yung sumunod na kabatch ko. Nagka-skull fracture siya, tapos yung kasama namin isa, yung nga po naipit. Tapos yung isa namin kasama na taga-Bataan, naputulan ng kamay.
Robert says he would prefer to make a living somewhere else. But like many of his work colleagues, he doesn't have a choice. Jobs are scarce in the Philippines. Hanjin pays him 300 pesos, or about $7 a day, money needed to support his mother and put his younger siblings through school.
Sa amin po, mahirap po dahil probinsya nga po. Doon po unang nagtrabaho pero hindi ko po rin nagustuhan dahil sa sahod.
Job creation was one of the key reasons former President Gloria Arroyo cited for courting Hanjin so aggressively.
100 meter wide and 12.5 meter.
Her government offered the Korean company prime land, a significant tax holiday, and a host of other incentives for setting up shop in Subic Bay. It's all part of a master plan to turn this former US military base and its surrounding areas into a thriving economic zone.
There is more opportunity jobs available because of giant industrial investments like this one being done by Hanjin. Subic is bound to become, what is it, Mr. Chairman, one of the 4 largest shipbuilding facilities in the whole world.
Some men have paid a high price for working at Hanjin. Rodolfo Alvarez is one of 5,000 Hanjin workers injured in worksite accidents since 2006. On the 2nd of June 2011, the former electrician was repairing a security alarm system when his lower body was badly crushed by a closing barrier. Doctors couldn't save his sexual organs and had to remove them.
Kaya ito nga naging resulta niya. Marami na damage sa loob ko. Nabali yung dito ko, may fracture ako dito. Tapos yun sa ari ko, sa pag-ihi ko, pagdumi ko, naapektuhan lahat yun. Kaya yun, ito na yung nangyari sa akin.
Alvarez's condition remains unstable. His wife Rizalyn has to watch him around the clock. Hanjin is taking care of Alvarez's medical fees and paying his rent. They've also given the couple some financial support.
Tapos ito yung nagbigay sila sa amin ng financial support, pinapirma nila sa amin 18,000. Pero nakuha namin 13 lang. Dahil ang inaano nila, yung wheelchair niya, saka yung kinaltas doon sa 18,000. Yun yung pinapirma nila sa amin. Dito ka gumagawa, di ba? Tapos dito na siya napunta. Ito yung nakaipit sa kanya. Kasi hindi namin matanggap, mami, sinasabi nila lifetime yung catheterization. Siyempre mahirap yun, ma'am. Dating normal, tapos magiging lifetime yung catheter niya.
Sinabihan nga ako ng doktor na lifetime daw to. Tinitignan ko to. Lagi ako nag-iisip. Gusto ko sana magkaroon kahit paano may balik sa dati.
Hanjin's management declined repeated requests for an interview and for permission to film inside their shipyard. This footage was filmed by some workers using hidden cameras. Manholes unmarked and uncovered. Men working without proper safety gear. Slippery floors. It is, some workers say, a recipe for disaster. This man suffered serious injuries when he fell into an open manhole earlier this year. He was hospitalized for 11 days.
Tapos nung nakausap ko yung ng management, tinanong ko kung may bayad ba yung araw ko na nawala. Sabi wala daw, no work, no pay. So binigyan lang ako ng ng 10,000 pesos acknowledgement lang daw ng kumpanya sa akin.
For the government-run Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority, it's a delicate situation, balancing the interests of a key investor with that of the Filipino worker.
We've met with the Hanjin people, number one on the issue of safety, because there were some accidental deaths there. Because shipbuilding is a very sort of dangerous activity, and their management laid out their complete safety, health, and environmental program, which is quite comprehensive.
Activists like lawyer Ernesto Arellano say that's not enough. He wants Hanjin to beef up its on-site medical facilities.
When the workplace is hazardous and you employ more than 300 workers, you are required to build an emergency hospital. So why will government give in to the request of Hanjin not to build an emergency hospital but only a clinic?
There are also allegations of physical abuse. One instance was apparently captured on this mobile phone less than a year ago. The man on the right is allegedly a Korean foreman at Hanjin. The man on the left, a Filipino worker. The worker who filmed this explains what he witnessed.
Kinuha ko itong video na to dahil nakita ko yung kapwa ko panggagawa na minamaltrato ng isang Koreano at gusto ko itong may pakita sa iba pa para may tigil na itong pagmamaltrato sa amin ng nangyayari sa loob ng Hanjin.
It's not clear if such abuse happens regularly.
I'm sorry, myself.
But we can verify that at least one other worker has suffered similar mistreatment under his Korean supervisor.
Inablot niya yung damit ko. Lahat inano niya sa akin. Nasira yung damit ko. Hindi pa rin siya nasiyan. Sinagsisigawan niya ako hanggang sa nainis siya talaga ng todo. Iniampas niya ngayon sa akin yung maglight dito sa ulo ko. Ngayon, nung pagkahampas niya, nahilo ako. Sobrang nahilo talaga ako. Ngayon. Pero hindi naman siya masyadong medyo masakit lang talaga dahil nung hawak ko na, pag ganun ko, dumudugo na siya.
Unlike many of his colleagues, Mark Liagan refused to stay silent. He filed a complaint and was offered compensation of about $460. The Korean foreman, he says, is no longer working in the shipyard.
It's a cultural issue. Basically, the Koreans have their way of running the business, and the Filipinos also have their own culture as far as that's concerned. And because of the differences, there has been some sort of a clash.
I completely disagree with that. We are living in a modern world, and this is simple good manners and human treatment of your fellow being. I think it is more of a condescending attitude from the Koreans.
Disgruntled workers have started to organize.
Nasaan ang dole sa panahon ng maraming aksidente hanggang sa ngayon? Nasaan din ang dole nung time na tayo ay naghabag ng mga reklamo laban sa Hanjin? Anong ginawa niya? Inutil!
Today, workers are joining some activists in a small protest outside the Labor Department, demanding that the government hold Hanjin accountable for worksite accidents.
Magkano ba? Magkano ba? Sabwatang dole, Hanjin Management! Ilantad! Ilantad! Sabwatang dole, Hanjin Management! Ilantad! Ilantad!
Alfie Alapiero is president of Samahan, an association for current and former Hanjin employees.
Noong 2008, ginawa namin paristo ng union, pero hanggang sa ngayon, wala pa rin kaming na-receive o nakukuha na certification. Kaya ninais muna namin magkaroon ng magtayo ng isang asosasyon, ito yung Samahan ng Manggagawa sa Hanjin Shipyard, para mailitimo na kilalanin ang mga manggagawa.
The Hanjin management said that there should not be a union, that the workers should not be organizing a union because they don't really have Filipino workers. They only have around 300 Korean workers, and the Filipino workers are employed in 18 subcontractors.
It's a complex situation. one involving an intricate web of local companies that supply Hanjin, Philippines with its workers. Primo Amparo has been researching the stock holdings of the subcontractors.
It appeared that his name in the new documents on the appeal to nullify the union registration was Yang Wan Kim. In the other documents, all of the name of the majority stockholder of the subcontractor is also Yang Wan Kim. All of these documents of the subcontractor in the Hanjin Shipyard at Subic has representing the 95% of the share of stock was in the name of Mr. Yang Wan Kim. They are using the subcon in order to evade or to avoid direct responsibilities to the workers.
If you are a regular employee, then you have a right to security tenure, you have the right to form or join a union, and you are entitled to all the labor standards, the minimum wage benefits under the law. But when you are an employee of the subcontractor, you do not have any employment relation with the end user, which is Hanjin. And therefore, Hanjin has no obligation, has no liability towards the employee.
In May 2011, Samahan organized a series of protests known as noise barrages. Mealtimes at the shipyard were marked by the relentless clanging of forks, spoons and other utensils. The aim was to draw attention to poor working conditions. Retaliation from Hanjin was swift.
Pagkatapos ng noise barrage na yon, ang ginawa sa akin ng management ay ako in-interrogate. At ang masaklap pa doon, ako'y binabahan ng preventive suspension ng 30 days na hindi man lang dumaan sa tamang proseso.
It's a painful price to pay. Hanjin isn't likely to take Salazar back. And given the current economic conditions in the Philippines, finding another job will be a challenge. A short distance from the shipyard, this community is facing challenges of its own. More than 1,000 families live in makeshift huts here. Their homes used to be on the site, now occupied by Hanjin. The recent typhoons have wreaked havoc here.
Dito muna tayo. Dito may mga nasira dito eh. Sa father ko, nasirang bahay nila eh.
Antonio Regato and his family are trying to pick up the pieces after the storm.
Buti hindi kayo nadaganan.
Kung di ako tinulak, kaya nag-aayos ako dahil pumapasok yung mga angge-angge ba? Jesus.
Mabas ka na masisira ng bahay mo. Sabi niya, hindi pa masisira, sabi ganun. Sabi na, ayusin ko pa yan sa haligi. Sabi ko, hindi. Ang ginawa ko, kaya sabi, wala. Tapos, hinila ko siya. Muntik lang madapa. Paglabas niya, bagsak ang bahay.
It's a precarious existence. But there's little the community can do.
Ganun pa rin ang nagay namin. Kaya hindi ko gawa itong bahay na to. Gawa nga ng demolish nga ang inimobile namin.
Regato says their former governor promised to resettle the community. But the man's no longer in charge, and they're running out of options.
Doon yung apat na basis na dinimulis. Panglima rito na dito ngayon naman mga 3 years na kami nakatira. Ngayon ang pinoproblema dito kasi pumunta rito yung si Misa, ba yun? May-ari ng lupa rito. Yan ang sabi na kukunin niya itong lupa.
As night falls, the weather turns. Down the road, Vivian Palacio and her children are preparing for dinner.
Dito ka.
Palacio's husband works for Hanjin. He makes 327 pesos, or about $7.50 a day. But Palacio says she misses their previous life.
Tapos yung karamihan ng isda na tulad ng dati na masagana yung isda, nawala na. Kunti na lang yung mahuli. At saka noon yung mangingisda pa yung asawa ko, okay lang naman yung buhay namin kasi pagkagaling sa ang uwian ng mangingisda, 1 linggo. Tapos sa 1 linggo na yon, meron kang mapaghatian na minsan umabot ng 3,000, 5,000, ganyan.
Like their neighbors, this family lives in fear of yet another eviction notice. But for now, there are other worries. It's starting to rain, and Palacio must help her daughter get through one more stormy night. Concern for Hanjin workers has spread beyond Subic Bay, and members of the powerful Catholic Church have started to speak out.
We are making people aware of this because this is not only a problem of Hanjin, but a problem of many of our own factories. It's because of the paradigm that the government is pursuing. So create also awareness among the people. Hopefully, if there is awareness, there can be enough pressure on our politicians, on our government officials, and on Hanjin itself to behave themselves properly.
Those are reporting submission of documents only.
Then after the submission.
At the NGO Urban Missionaries, there is a discussion over a letter from the Labor Department.
Did not really.
Hindi minention siya na subject for Hanjin management.
The group recently asked the government to let it join a special task force to take care of Hanjin workers, but they were rebuffed.
In this letter, they don't explain why they are not accepting our membership in the task force. When in fact, what we are offering is free of charge. They said, subject to the agreement of the Hanjin people. So I cannot really reconcile why we have to, why do we have the need for the Hanjin people to agree.
Perhaps the answer lies in the fact that the Philippine government is counting on foreign investment to lift the country out of poverty. 23 million people here live on less than $2 a day. Underemployment stands at nearly 19%.
The economic paradigm pursued by the current government and all past presidents for that matter, has always been globalization. Globalization to them means that the Philippine economy should be open up to all countries, to imports and foreign investments. The policy of the government has always been that if you take a pro-labor stance, you endanger foreign investors.
Over at the bus depot, it's a brand new day for these Hanjin workers. Another storm is brewing, but the men are determined to get to the shipyard. June Asuncion isn't joining the queue today. He was fired a few months ago for taking part in the noise barrage. He's now selling snacks at the bus terminal to make ends meet.
Now I have too many credits. Left, right, many credits. Now I cannot pay them because I have no more jobs. What I am only asking for this company is to bring me back inside the company, to work again for them. But I do not intend to do any harm for this company. I like to work. I need to work.
A bus arrives and there's a mad rush for seats. The desperation is palpable. Workers who arrive late at the shipyard will have their pay docked. These men might not like what they do or who they work for. But in a country with so few opportunities, a job is a prized asset. Even if it's at a shipyard but some call it graveyard.